With the Senate this week confirming Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, the questions many of us are asking are, one, when will Stephen Breyer, who is the oldest Supreme Court justice at 82, retire? Two, what cases are in the pipeline for the High Court? And three, how is it that the Supremes have never had a black woman? Joining me now is Christopher Kane, co-founder and chief counsel of Demand Justice and a former Obama special assistant for legislative affairs. He vetted quite a few justices. So, Chris, very happy to have you with me this morning. Look, this is a big deal that the judge got confirmed. She really is kind of next in line for the Supreme Court. Do you think Justice Breyer, who she's the clerk for, by the way, do you think he'll retire?
I think it's hard to tell, but Mitch McConnell made the most compelling case as anybody why Justice Breyer should retire. He sort of said this week that he would not confirm a Biden nominee in the last 2 years of his presidency. And so I think that really if Justice Breyer is considering his legacy, he should make the decision to retire this summer and make way for someone like Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, he actually made those comments on Hugh Hewitt's show, Mitch McConnell, the descendant of enslavers, talking about blocking Supreme Court justice. So we'll see what happens. I think something that people have to understand when we talk about the Supreme Court, the right does a much better job of making this a priority. On the left, there needs to be conversation about the consequence. What kind of cases could the Supreme Court be seeing over the next few months and years?
Well, we're already seeing every time President Biden tries to take executive action, a Republican judge is stepping in to stop. Whether it's his policy on deportations, whether it's a moratorium on evictions during this pandemic, or just this week, part of President Biden's climate change plan to have a moratorium on oil and gases was stopped by a Trump-appointed judge. So we know that a lot of these Biden priorities are going to be challenged in court. And much more broadly, next year, the Supreme Court has already decided that it's going to consider Roe versus Wade and access to abortion. And it's going to consider a very important gun violence prevention policy. Affirmative action looks like it might be on deck next. So the next Supreme Court term is shaping up to be a blockbuster in which these partisan political supermajority of Republican justices are going to take a hatchet to our rights.
I want you to take a listen, considering what's coming down the pipeline. I want you to take a listen to some Democrats who have a message for Justice Breyer.
There is no question that Justice Breyer, for whom I have great respect, should retire at the end of this term. I mean, my goodness, have we not learned our lesson?
You're asking me this question, so I would give more thought to it, but I'm inclined to say yes.
My recommendation would be the same as Representative Jones and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which is that I do believe that he should retire prior to the midterms. I think that would be best for our country.
So you're laying out some of the cases that we could see. During Trump's term, he saw 234 of his nominees confirmed to lifetime appointments. These were mostly white conservative men. This can't be undone. But Biden has so far had 24 of his nominees confirmed. Will that offset anything while we're trying to look at options on the courts?
I mean, I think we're starting in the right direction. I think that President Biden has nominated more judges at this point in his presidency than anyone in modern history, and the Senate Democrats have confirmed more judges than anybody at this point. But there's still a long way to go. I think that one of the important things about Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation is she's only the 9th black woman to ever serve as a circuit court, just with that level just below the Supreme Court, which is one reason why we don't have a pipeline of black women justices or could be considered for the court. Also, critically, President Biden is changing the mold for the kinds of judges he's putting forward. Enough former prosecutors and former corporate lawyers. He's looking to put public defenders. Judge Jackson is also only the 9th former public defender in history to serve at this level of the federal courts. He put forward just a civil rights lawyer, Myrna Perez, who's a voting rights expert this week. We also need to see a different kind of judge put forward in addition to putting them forward more quickly in order to truly restore balance. I think we're on our way, but we've got a ways to go.
And you've talked about that a lot, Chris. The last time we were on, you talked about the importance of professional diversity as well as ethnic and racial diversity. And you made the point that black women are not just underrepresented in higher courts, but the lower courts as well. When Biden took office, only 5 of the nearly 300 sitting federal appellate judges were black women. Given that, I'm just curious where you stand on expanding the Supreme Court.
Well, we believe the Supreme Court needs to be expanded to restore balance from what is right now a 6-3 super conservative majority, but also adding seats will allow us to have more representation on the court. We don't just need the first black woman on the court. We need the first Asian American on the court, maybe the first Native American on the court, a person with disabilities on the court. We need to expand the Supreme Court so that it really is more representative of our democracy.
Chris, you were intimately involved in this process during the Obama administration, so you will definitely be back as we watch this court process unfold. And thank you so much for joining us this Saturday morning.